Hi, everybody. Welcome to CURVEX's Mental Health Podcast. I'm here with Imran Rashid. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I was hoping you could introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so basically I'm a family physician that was bitten by a tech bug early on.
Okay.
And then I went into tech entrepreneurship and really got deep into how to, startups, create apps, and all the digital world that I really got interested in. And basically to start out, I tried to see how that the technology or the digital possibilities could help me become a better doctor. But in that process, I also learned that there's also a hidden dark side of the digital world that we need to acknowledge and understand in order for us to thrive as human beings.
Yeah.
So it was basically the tech entrepreneur and the doctor colliding and basically leading me into the path that I'm on now, which basically is to try and find out what humans are. What kind of creatures are we?
Yeah. And you're going to use technology to discover what humans are.
Yeah.
So how can you use technology to find out what humans are?
Well, because humans are, in my opinion, a very complicated creature.
Sure, yeah.
We're basically the only creature on the planet who can worry about things that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And we can also worry about stuff that's going to happen, that never happened. I mean, there's a limitless amount of things that we can worry about. And that's also some of the things that basically make us sick. So I look at humans as partly reactive creatures and partly active creatures. So we have a will, but most of us, or most of what we basically consist of is a reactive part. So we respond or react to our surroundings and to other humans and to things we do, how it affects us, and that's the emotional part. And then we have our conscious thinking or the thoughts that creates an illusion that we control our life.
Yeah. And this control, this desire to control, it must have a lot of consequences on our mental health.
It has.
And physical health.
Yeah, it has.
Could you talk about what kind of damage does it do when we try to control?
Yeah.
What kind of damage does it do to mental and physical health?
So when you start trying to live your life based on your thoughts, it's going to mess your life up because there's, for instance, when have you earned enough money?
Good one.
When have you gotten enough likes? How does people? When do you have enough recognition from other human beings, etc.? Those kind of things are something that basically never fulfills our needs, and it's a dangerous path because that's where we get lured into the materialistic companies that basically just wants to sell us stuff that makes us feel good.
Yeah.
Instead of going down that path, in my book here, I focus on the ability to feel.
Okay.
And also how you can basically create better emotions in your everyday life by not focusing on the emotions, but on the activities or the things you engage into that creates emotions inside you. So how you can basically nurture your own mental kitchen garden, as I talk about.
So I guess you'd have to, there's all sorts of things that we can do. And I guess it'd be a good idea to find out what's actually doing you favors and what's hurting you, and be honest with yourself and say, okay, well, it's great to have finances, but if I'm going up this invisible ladder of having an invisible ceiling of just, it just keeps on going, then I should not try to do that, or likes or dating or popularity or power or strength or cars. I mean, it could be anything. Everyone has one or two of those things I just mentioned, and some of them might seem ridiculous, but we know what it's like to have this pull of moreness that we can never achieve.
True.
Yeah.
And the thing is that actually there's a really, really important and very simple way to make this illusion go away.
Okay. Yeah.
If I ask you to close your eyes.
Yeah.
Think about the most important thing in your life, or the thing that matters the most to you.
Okay.
Okay. Did you think about your phone?
No.
Did you think about likes, followers? Did you think about money? Did you think about bank or what you could buy?
No.
What did you think of?
I thought about my mom.
Yeah. So that's actually the biggest problem we have. So when you close your eyes, you can focus and you know what's important and you know what creates value for you when you open your eyes. So when did you last call your mom?
Sunday.
Yeah. So this means that the most important thing in your life is something you forgot for 2-3 days.
well, she lives on the other side of the world. We call. I have this thing where I call. She's from California, so I call her every Sunday.
I understand.
So I definitely haven't forgotten about her.
No. I just say that that's the dissociation, so to say, in our everyday life. Obviously, your case is special. But what I'm saying is that with closed eyes, every single human being on the planet know what's important. With open eyes, we constantly spend our time on stuff that's not important, but stuff that we think is important. And that's basically the human curse.
So how do we get out of this trap? Because we are using our eyes all the time, and we talk about digitalization, and so we're in this digital world where we're bombarded with all sorts of stimuli that reinforce the idea and are very good at convincing us that all these things are very important.
Actually, they're not good at convincing us because convincing someone requires that you give people a choice where you can basically choose between A or B because you then use your analyzing brain to, okay, is this good for me or is this bad for me? But that's not the case. What happens here is basically that you make people react to something that feels good. So the reactive part of human beings are basically the impulses, the emotional behavior, the habits, all the things that you do without choosing it, but just doing it because it feels good. And that's you using your phone again and again. That's you eating popcorn or drinking soda instead of water, or all the things you do in your everyday life that feels good. And so if you want to change human behavior, start looking at the emotions.
Okay. So how do we do that? So let's say I'm very addicted to buying cars. Okay, so I have a car. I just need more cars. My garage is never big enough. What do we? And that
but cars is something that requires money, which requires work. So it's like up there. But for instance, if you're addicted to something, accessibility is also one thing. If you're addicted to, let's say, porn.
Okay, sure.
It's right there in your hand and you can use it every time you want. And there's basically an endless amount of it. That's something that'll crawl deep down below in the bottom of your brain where you don't know what you're doing basically because it's the emotion that drives you. For instance, how many times did you itch yourself yesterday?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
No, you don't.
No.
Because you don't have control over your itching, right?
Sure.
And if you knew, that would be like, okay, this guy is weird, right?
If I counted, one.
So the thing is, the tech companies, they have created business models around behavior patterns that are similar to itching yourself. So this means that you can't control something that you're not conscious about, which you know basically as a neuroscientist. So if you basically if you understand people's needs and you create business models around people checking their phone because they want to see if someone else has responded to the things they posted, and create those feedback patterns that we know, all of us, we get a notification, we go into some, to see the scrolling, the feed, and we click like and we post something and then we wait for other people to respond. That kind of hamster wheel. If we do that, we don't choose it. We do it because it feels good. So it's basically eyes and fingers looping creates basically eating popcorn, digital popcorns.
Yeah, and I heard they even use the same sounds for notifications that they do in casinos because there's that for some reason that high pitch thing. It's I don't know what it is, but it's definitely it for some reason it lures us in or it attracts us or it creates a craving for more.
It's a backdoor into your brain because again back to the part where the reactive human and the active human. It's not like 50-50. It's more or less 5 or 10% of your time you actually choose yourself. The rest of the time you react and you basically preserve mental energy. So you just want to, basically every single human being wants to get everything without any effort.
Yeah.
Bring me something. I mean, if just eat, I don't know, everything you want, bring me stuff without me having to do anything. Basically, that's what we're aiming for.
And we're definitely on the way. You could order everything pretty much.
Exactly.
Now.
Everything. Yeah. And the Corona crisis didn't help on that part, right?
Yeah.
But the thing here is that's our thoughts. What do we want? How do we get it? What do we need? That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Because we need stuff that feels good. We need other human beings. We need the friction between humans. We need to feel, we need to belong. How do how do you get friends? How do you get love?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Tinder. That's something else than love.
Yeah.
But how do you create surroundings that are creating the right emotions inside your health, in your life, right?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know that.
They don't know that.
And they go for the simple solutions such as Tinder and Facebook, and they've created a simulation of these things.
Exactly.
Which is close enough that they're satisfied, but it's not actually giving them what they need, and so they're actually miserable.
Yeah, it's actually this. I tend to use the metaphor that you're basically trying to water a plant with a pitcher of water.
Yeah, good one.
Or you are hungry, but then you eat gum.
Okay.
Tastes like something.
I like that one.
Yeah, because that's basically eating gum, trying to feed your hunger, but it's not enough. You're doing something that resembles what you need, but it's not enough, and it will never be enough. Why? Because it's basically something that enters the wrong part of your brain. It's your eyes that are analyzing something that should, try to invoke feelings.
And I guess it'd be the same thing with finances or power or likes. It's you're getting something and you feel like, okay, this seems like a reward. So if I have some reward and it makes me feel a little bit nice, then I should do more reward, which will make me feel even more nice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. And it's nice to have some money and some like and all these things. But to go to the extremes and put your own value on that's where we tend to lose ourselves.
So what I tend to focus on, and actually something we've seen, Corona, post-Corona, that people basically got this unwanted break in their life where they had to basically change every surroundings, starting working from home and doing stuff differently, right? And when you're doing stuff differently, you can start like, okay, hey, how do I want to assemble the puzzle again? How do I want to how do I want to live?
Yeah, at home with this new lifestyle that I'm forced.
People discover their families in many cases, right?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, there's kids. Oh, I can eat lunch with my kids. Whoa, right? And that is something that really has woken many people. Like they've become awake. What have I actually spent my life on? Okay, so I spend a lot of my time on work so I can earn money so I can live. But actually, I think it's for many people, they found out that actually they're living to work instead of the other way around.
Yes.
Why? And that's the thing here. Working is something that creates emotions in you. You have a title. You have someone who needs you. You have something you do that gives you recognition. You get like a physical buying power in the end of every month, where you can go out and do stuff. So work actually starts taking over your emotional habits or your emotional. It becomes a bigger driver than, for instance, your family, because they're bothersome. Oh, you want something from me again, and you don't have the same structure around how you live your life in your family. Even though if you ask people what's most important for you, everyone will think about their family or their kids or whatever.
Yeah.
But actually, in real life, do we spend our time on stuff that's important, or do we spend our time on stuff that makes us feel important? That's different.
Yeah, it is.
And that's back to the thing I'm talking about, that the reactive human being is the one that responds to what we're doing. So if you want to feel better, do something that makes you feel better and just find out what is it that's important for you.
Yeah. And this is something that I think a lot of people might have difficulty with. I just had a friend who just quit his IT job because he realized they were paying him so much to give up his dreams.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I can't do this anymore. So he's done. But now he doesn't know what to do. So he's just taking kind of a month or two off, hanging out with us, going on walks, and he doesn't know what to do. So.
Because it's not something he should know.
Yeah.
It's something he should feel.
Okay.
I mean, life quality is not about thoughts, it's about emotions.
Yeah.
You feel good, right? It's also important to understand that the longest study in life quality, it was Howard. They looked at men from the 30s. So it's an ongoing study that's been looking at life factors that improves life quality for like more than 80 years. They've more generations, several generations of scientists has looked at that, right?
Yeah.
And they discovered that there was one factor that basically beat every other factor in giving or creating or that like corresponded to a bigger or a better life and a healthier life.
Yes. Yeah.
And that thing was strong and deep relationships to other human beings.
Okay.
So the most important thing or factor that makes human beings thrive are basically other human beings. It's not money. It's not work. It's not, everything around you that you can buy. It's basically other human beings, which is interesting because you're born completely dependent on other human beings to survive.
Yeah.
A baby can't do anything, right? But then we have created society where every single step on your life journey is about making you independent of other human beings. Yeah. So you can get buying power, so you can stand on your own feet, etc.
Be independent,
Yeah. But, that's basically to have a plant that you want to start walking.
Yeah.
Humans we may have feet, but we also have roots. Our roots are where we get nurtured from our surroundings. Yeah. We feel safe because we have parents or a family or a place that makes us feel safe, right? But it's basically uprooting humans when we create that pattern where you have to stand on your own feet and take care of yourself. Yeah. When you were born in the completely different or the opposite starting point.
Yeah. So do you think it should be unhealthy?
It is.
To leave.
Yeah, we've created surroundings and a way of living which is basically unhealthy, creating unhealthy human beings.
And there's so many different types of cultures. I know. In the States, you're pretty much. Reason when you're given a car when you're 16 is because you have to be able to drive and leave. And when you go to college, you might go to the other side of the country, which is just huge. And then there's some cultures where people will live with their family until 30s or 40s. Would you say that this directly has a result or impact on your life quality? Because you're stuck or not stuck, but you're with your.
So it's an interesting question because. Obviously, there's a lot of nuances in this, right?
Yeah.
But it's a fact that in Denmark, there's roughly 6 million Danes living. And studies have shown that 1.2 million Danes, like a fifth of the population, every single day, they eat dinner alone. And a third of those, like 300,000 or 400,000 Danes every single night, they eat dinner alone without wanting it. Some people want to eat alone because they want to.
Yeah, I eat alone. I live when I eat alone.
But did you choose it or didn't you choose it? That's whether or not it's unwanted or wanted.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And that's where I start to think that maybe we have created. If you have like 400,000 people who want to eat dinner with someone else just to feel like a part of something, then we have created a society that's not good for us.
And what do you think we should do? Is that could we solve this? Because to solve this, I'm thinking either change the situation where people could eat together, or maybe an internal solution, building self-love, where if you don't have someone you can eat with, you can be okay with that.
You can start treating human beings as a plant. Would you try to teach a plant to self-love?
I would not try to teach.
Would it survive? No, it wouldn't.
No.
We can't survive without human beings.
Okay.
So I think the first solution you point to is the right one.
Okay.
Find the common denominators between human beings. Find the things that makes us. In psychology and sociology, they have this the common third. It's like a concept where, I mean, you and I, we're individuals. But the individual differences, they will lighten up if we start engaging without, like, you know, I'm this, I feel like that, or I think like that, and you think like, I mean, then we wouldn't have the common denominator. But if you like to, I don't know, play soccer or play paddle tennis, something like that, and I also do that, well, then our differences are completely ruled out because we have something in common.
Yes. Yeah.
What I think is the solution to this critical way we have created society is to basically create societies where the feeling of living in this society is the common denominator. You should have some of the same experiences as I have living here, which means that the more we share common experiences, the more we will feel that we're the same or a part of something, instead of being those individuals that have to take care of themselves. That's, in my opinion, what societies should be about.
Yeah. And you could almost say there's science to this, because there's something called evolutionary psychology where we immediately judge people.
Exactly.
And we start with looks. Skin color would be an easy one. Or if you are same as mine, I'm going to trust you more or like you more. But if you have a different skin color, I'm going to automatically think, oh, this is an outside group member. And it goes beyond that. It goes to the clothes you're wearing for status and a million things.
But then I can't come in here and you know I'm a doctor, then that rules everything away, right? Because you know doctors are trustworthy.
They're all trustworthy. They're all good. Yeah.
But you're completely right. And the thing you're talking about here is important, because that's the sorting process is a part of the reactive human being. It's not a conscious choice.
No, yeah, exactly. It's instinctual. It's so part of our evolutionary psychology.
It's how you react to other human beings. So the sorting process, you might feel, oh, you're so tolerant and you're good to humans and you have this thought about yourself. But in reality, and that's also some of the things I point to here in this book, we have sadistic tendencies. You can see that in babies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of because I asked in the final chapter, I asked the question whether or not human beings, if we look at human beings as creatures, are we inherently good, evil, or bad, or good?
Yeah.
What are our basic traits, right? You have like widow spiders who eat their mating, right?
Yeah.
That would be seen as probably an evil,
bad,
But then again, for them, it's
just fine. It's just Tuesday.
The male spider that gets eaten the most will actually increase the chances of the spiders to survive. So the more tolerant you are in being eaten,
that's the way to go if you're a spider.
Looking from the outside, right? But here, the British Psychological Association, they presented a review of a large number of psychological studies to shed light on the question of the true nature of human beings. So these were the dark sides. And this was that some of the studies has shown that when you see minorities or vulnerable people with, handicapped people or people with disabilities, you perceive them as less human. Again, the sorting process. So human, disabled or disabled or homeless, less human.
Sure.
That's how you label other human beings. And this is not you being educated, etc. This is the sorting process.
Yes.
We already feel Schadenfreude, which is like, we feel good when other people are being punished. As young as 4 years old.
Interesting.
We believe in karma, but if something happens, we interpret it Darwinistically. So if something happens to someone who's weak, that that must be their own fault.
Yes. Yeah.
We put on blinkers and deny the facts. So there's always a good reason to why you did something evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even in these times, Vladimir Putin must have some kind of explanation that he can use to justify whatever he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a human trait, right?
Yes.
And we'd rather shock ourselves than experience peace. So there was a study made. You could sit peacefully in 15 minutes without doing anything, or you could give yourself a shock.
Nice.
And of that study, 76% of men and 25% of women who participated in this, they chose to give themselves unpleasant shocks. Rather than sit for 15 minutes in peaceful mental contemplation.
That makes but you see this. You don't see this as abruptly, but you see people will go on social media and look for something that will trigger them, and then get mad that they've been triggered and yell at the person and call them all sorts of names.
The daily emotional stimulus, basically, right?
Yeah.
So rather than being bored, you want to go out and make war on the web.
Yeah.
These are some of the deep tendencies. We're vain and overrate ourselves. We are moral hypocrites, and all of those things are basically a part of our legacy or our mental.
That's amazing.
But so that's why I also call that we have. There's a time for an emotional enlightenment that needs to be there.
And what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean that. So the rational enlightenment was the thing that happened when you started, getting science into the world and starting questioning stuff that the world is not flat, it's round. And it might come as a shocker for someone who's been on websites recently, right? Yeah. But that path where rationality took over and led us to believe that we can actually control the world. But that's the thing that, the scientific breakthroughs and what I use as an example here is that kind of enlightenment led us to a point where we could send rockets to Mars, right?
Yeah.
But as I also describe in the book, the lack of the emotional enlightenment was the thing that only led us to the top of the stairs at the White House at Capitol Hill, where the trolls they had the front attack on the democratic institutions.
Yes,
that's because we haven't tamed the beast inside us yet.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that we think that we can. We're good. We're good enough as human beings. Now we can send rockets to Mars, but we haven't even reached the state where we can control ourselves. And that's, in my opinion, the things that's going to lead to a dark place for human beings if we can't control that part. So, but there's also a good side of, because the same association, the British Psychological Association, they followed up on their article on the dark sides with a similar review of the positive sides.
Good.
Yeah, so there were good things.
Of course,
So
good.
Children age 2 are surprisingly selfless, and we're altruistic by nature. Our personality has bright but under-examined sides. Children have a desire to protect nature. We take better care of others than ourselves, and good deeds are contagious. If I do something good for you, you want to go out and do good for others. And also things like suffering teaches us to care. So if you suffer yourself, then you'll be better at taking care of other human beings.
Yeah.
So those are some of the good things that we can build upon as human beings. But again, it's something that needs to be explored.
Sure. I think that last one you said makes me think of, everyone here and maybe yourself, is that I think a lot of us have suffered, and that is why we've come together to create this podcast and this mental health company, because we do want to help. And we might have had a career goal of some kind, and then because of various pains, realize, you know what, actually I want to spend the rest of my life helping people.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, hopefully. So it's very interesting, the thing about helping others, because there's a dark side to that as well.
Okay.
Why do you want to help others? Well, it makes you feel good. But are you there for them, or are they there for you?
I see.
That's actually every doctor's curse as well.
Interesting.
Because it feels good to help people, and you get paid for it, and you have a nice gown and a title and Dr. Imran Rashid, right?
Yeah.
But down the road, someday you might wake up and realize that actually you might haven't helped that many people as you think you have, because you focused on the patient that walked into your clinic, but you forgot the human that walked out again. Because you told people, do this, do that, gave them a prescription or a good advice. But studies actually, and that's a thing that every doctor knows, that adherence level, the thing that the chances for the patient actually to follow your advices is as low as 50%.
So you're saying, so a patient will come to you with some kind of
disease, whatever,
and ask for help, and then you'll say,
I'll give them the help.
Some help. 50%
won't follow up on the advice. Why? Yeah, it's because for instance, we forget it, or we only take medicine as long as we feel sick, or we simply, so this is the case. You're at home, you're feeling a little bit ill, and then you go to the doctor, you get some medication, you go home, you take the medication, then you feel bad. You get nausea. So that was like feeling bad, but now you're feeling worse. Yeah. So you'll stop taking the medication.
Yeah.
That's reactive behavior.
Yes.
It's not the conscious thing. You know what's the good thing to do, but you're not going to do it because you're a human. And that's where doctors, none of the things I've learned after I graduated from med school, things like consciousness, system 1 and 2 that we have, where one is the rational behavior and one is the emotional and subconscious parts of our brain. It's not something you learn at med school. You don't learn about habits.
No.
You don't learn about the need for being a trustworthy person. You learn how to be to know a lot, to tell people what they should do. You learn about the body, the physiology, a little bit about psychology. But the problem is that when you go out there and start trying to help people only focusing on the rational parts, you'll completely miss out on the emotional parts, which in my opinion are a lot more important. I mean,
and this is kind of, everyone kind of misses out on this emotional part. I feel like we never really learned that.
We didn't. Yeah, it's because it's not something you can learn.
Yeah.
Learning goes into your rational way. It's you building your. So can you learn how to be? No, you can't.
No.
You can do things that makes you feel good. For instance, if you're a Boy Scout, okay, what do you learn there? You learn to do a lot of things. What do you learn between the lines? Or what do you experience there? You experience when I'm helping someone, it feels good. Okay, I want to help more. It's not teaching someone you should help others. It's actually making them feel it, because then that feeling will create habits. That's also why the book is called Feel Ability. We need to learn the ability to feel. Because right now we're not paying attention to how we feel. If we feel bad, what do? If you're feeling depressed, what do? You go out there, you buy more because it feels good. You eat more because it feels good. You do, those kind of things, right?
Or stimulate yourself.
You're filling the void.
Yeah, you are.
But you're not creating surroundings that fills the void with the right emotions.
Yeah. How do you think we can encourage people to pay more attention to this so they can start practicing this?
Just like you did. Close your eyes. Think about what matters the most to you, and keep that thought when you open your eyes and start structuring your life and planning your life. I mean, start focusing on the things that matters the most to you, and also the things. In the book, I describe this mental kitchen garden that we all have.
Okay.
In where our emotions grow, but they only grow if you spend time on the things that makes them grow. So it's like, I like to play paddle, and it's because it makes me, forget myself, and it's fun, and I feel like I'm, getting better at it, etc. And I can only nurture that plant if I spend time on it. My kids at home, they have a plant which is called the Am I Good Enough plant.
Okay.
in their mental. That's how I the metaphor.
Yeah.
But who waters that plant?
Yeah.
It's not them. It's me. I have to make them feel that they're good enough. So this means that you're actually a gardener for other human beings' mental kitchen gardens.
Yeah.
That's why humans need humans.
Yeah.
Being human is not an individual process. It's a mutual process. It's a relational process.
Yeah.
Actually, I think what we should do is consider the smallest segment in a society as a group. Stop looking at humans as individuals, because you can't thrive as an individual human being if you don't have other humans around you. And you can only learn or become better at being better human if you experience the value of socialization, the value of forgetting yourself and getting out of your own head, doing good for others, or showing gratitude, be grateful for stuff that you have, those kind of things, because that makes you create mental habits that are not pointing inwards but outwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the problem with the digital world today is that it basically leads deep into your own navel, and you get stuck there. It's a dead end.
But I mean, we can both agree that the digitalization, it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not.
And it's only going to get more intense.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, so you can't just say, "Oh, let's get rid of it."
No,
that can't be the solution.
No.
So how do we use this for good?
Yeah. So it's about making conscious choices as much as you can, right? And also have a simple question that I tend to ask people, or a principle, you can call it that. It's not a problem to use Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or whatever you use. It's a problem if you can't stop.
Yeah.
It's not a problem to drink alcohol. It's a problem if you can't stop.
Yes.
Basically, it's pointing to the fact whether or not it's the active part of you who's diving in, or is it the reactive part? It's not a problem to do X. It's a problem if you can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how we should, and also see, okay, what am I doing and how is that affecting my mental kitchen gardening? What emotions do this activity create in me? Because if it's something that makes me feel good, go ahead, do it again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Do more of it.
Yeah.
But if it's something you're doing because you actually don't know what else to do, or if stop filling the void with stuff that other people, they earn money from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they will then benefit from your void, right?
Can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah. So the bigger need you get for other human beings, and you try to fill it with social media or whatever you do, like this gum thing we talked about before.
Yes.
They will never try to fulfill that need. If I'm a gum producer, I want people to start eating gum all the time.
Even more,
So the moment you get access to real food, you'll stop using gum.
Yes.
And that's the same for social media. They know, actually, in many cases, and a lot of the stuff that's been coming out from the whistleblowers from Facebook, for instance, they know exactly what emotional impact they have on their users.
Yeah.
But actually, they have built business models around those emotional impacts. Because if you have posted something recently that points to you feeling less valuable, so to say, or you feel like less self-worthy or something like that, they know that at that point you are more ready to buy. They actually provided, or they were caught trying to sell access to vulnerable teenagers at the exact point where they were feeling low in self-esteem, because at that point they would have more prevalence for buying to get a self-esteem boost,
fill it with something,
self-confidence boost. So they're better customers, which means that if you're feeling bad, it's better for my business. And if that mechanism spreads out to the whole world, and you actually also know how to affect human beings, the other study that I also talk about here is that At some points, Facebook, they took like 600,000 users, and 300, half of them, they flooded their Facebook feed with the positive news, and the other half was flooded with negative news, just to see how do you respond to positive or negative news, right? Yeah. And what they saw was that after they stopped the examination or the investigation, people responded in sharing more positive news or more negative news. Yeah. But that spread out to the second degree as well. So the people who were in the research subjects who actually didn't know they were a part of a study.
Of course, yeah.
They didn't. No, that's not, of course. You know, you being a scientist, they were unwillingly in a part of a study.
Right.
They didn't know that they were going to be flooded with the algorithm with negative. So this was, again, a very poor moral for someone conducting a study. But the second degree, so their friends were also being affected by this contagious, emotional contagion. So this means that you can actually, if you have access to human beings on a digital scale or a global scale through your digital devices, you can affect their mental state, emotional state. You can make them feel good or bad, but making them feel good is not as good for your business as making them feel bad. So and that's where the problem arises.
So they know how to make you feel bad and then target that to make you buy stuff, which will most likely make you feel bad. And then you're just in this loop of consumerism and feeling bad. And spreading negativity.
That's basically why you think that the world sucks. Even though if you looked at it in a more rationalistic way, Hans Rosling, a Swedish scientist, he published a book called Factfulness a couple of years ago. A really, really cleverly outlined book where he had asked a lot of different kind of people, even politicians or policymakers or scientists or school teachers, all different kind of people, where he gave them different questions about the state of the world today. For instance, poverty. How high percentage do you think feeling poverty or are
suffering from poverty
from poverty compared to 30 years ago? And then different, everyone answered wrong. We have a negatively view of the world based on social media or media. Why? Because bad news is better for business than good news.
It is. It's. I mean, I heard that these newscast stations that they're trained to know how to speak negatively because fear creates attention, which creates this arousal that even though it's slightly painful, like shocking yourself, it gets you hooked, and so you watch that, and you'll even watch the same story just repeating itself. For some reason, it just gets you, and then you just spread that on.
And that's because the reactive part of your brain reacts only to help you survive. So if there's something that could be threatening or something that you could mate with, that's basically the basic instincts in your brain that wants you basically to just survive. So if anything gets on your radar that sounds dangerous or something like that, you'll react.
You will,
even though you're a neuroscientist or a doctor or whatever, if you have something you could fear, then you'll react.
It's nothing to do with intelligence.
It's not about intelligence or education.
Or any of that.
It's nothing related to that.
No,
or it can be if you know about this and you know your coping strategies and you know that, for instance, if you're stressed, then you shouldn't be using social media for a period, because if you're stressed and you use social media, you'll become more stressed. Your thoughts will spin out of control, right?
But we can teach youth, anyone this.
Exactly.
So in closing, because we only have a couple minutes left, how can we teach people how to do this, to be aware of this? And
it's about creating feedback loops. And that's where I think things like what you guys are doing, trying to create that feedback loop to see how am I feeling, because people don't know how they're feeling. They know what they're thinking, but they're not exactly aware of the resting state of the brain, for instance. People think they take a break when they're
when they're on their phone, watching the news, talking to someone, all these things at the same time, they're relaxing.
They're not. They're not. Everyone knows that. When you have the brain waves, you know that as well when you look at that. So what you should do basically is understand, again, the emotional enlightenment that I talked about is about knowing how your surrounding affects you. Like in big office, open office hour, open offices, places, big, where everyone disturbs each other. Look at how the brain works and how it's affected, and start like creating surroundings that are better for your brain. Just like cars. So cars are designed to preserve mental energy, provide you with simple solutions, and help you get from A to B without or with low risk, so to say, right?
Sure.
That's how we should start using our brain. We should get feedback data that helps us take the right choices. And now it's time for a break. Now it's time to, or when you do this, you're feeling like that. Because basically we need a dashboard for how our brain works. So we can preserve mental resource, the restoration, and so we can preserve mental energy and be humans instead of trying to be bad computers.
And is this something that we could learn in your book? Some of these skills? Okay.
You can learn it. You can get inspired.
More familiar and more conscious of
more conscious of your limitations as human beings. And also that you don't have a body, you are a body. That's actually really an eye-opener for many people, that I don't have a body. I am a body. So that means that you need to take care of your body in order to feel good. So I think that's probably some of the key takeaways, that it's not, you're not a rational, intelligent, and conscious human being that now and then fails. That's how we think. That's the, underlying, I made a mistake. That was, okay, I'll change it next time. That's a wrong way of thinking of human beings. The right way is that we are basically habitual creatures, impulse-driven, emotionally driven. Now and then we can succeed in making rational choices.
And we have this ability. We have this ability,
but it's not the rule. It's the exemption.
But if we put consciousness onto this and learn these skills, learn what's distracting us, learn what not to do, we can improve our lives for the better, improve our mental health and physical health.
And just basically acknowledge the fact that you are the foundation for other human beings' well-being, as well as they are the foundation for your well-being. Don't think of humans as one.
We are a collective.
We are a collective. And actually now you guys are in the brainwave industry, so to say. But I recently stumbled upon a study that showed, for instance, two pilots that when they have brainwave sensors on and they have to fly, when they take off and when they land, their brain waves, they actually synchronize. When you have babies looking at adults,
like picture, like real,
like a picture or real.
Okay,
both picture or video or video or real
life,
then their brain waves will also synchronize.
Interesting.
When you're spooning with your partner, your heart rhythms will synchronize.
Fascinating.
So this is, to me, something that points to the fact that humans, we have an impact on other human beings in a way that we really can't figure out.
That's fascinating.
It is.
It's been fascinating having you here. I wish we could speak for a while longer.
We could.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you got something out of this talk, and we'll see you next time.